Right, welcome back everybody. Today you're joining me back in the shed again. Bit of a different bit of scenery. I've had a lot of comments asking for a lawnmower video, so I've dug one out of the garden. I've tried starting it. It didn't want to know. It's been out all season in all weathers, so it needs a new pull cord on it because this one's really short. You can't give it a pull really, so that could be one of the reasons why it's not firing. So I'm not getting enough pull on the pull cord there. While we got it in here, we'll put a new pull cord on it and we'll give it a complete service, and then hopefully we can get this all ready and it's all ready for season when the season comes, and hopefully we'll be able to get rid of it then. So let's get started. Right then, before we get started on the lawnmower, I've just taken delivery of the new channel name stickers. So there we go. That's the new Project Man stickers now. So I've got plenty of these now. We'll stick one on the board. I still need to get a board done for down at the polytunnel, but I can just squeeze this one on here hopefully. I just have to overlap them to a little bit there. There we go. So that's that board done now. We'll have to get another one started here and we'll get one started in the polytunnel. But if anyone does want one of these stickers, send me an email and I'll send one out, not a problem. My email's in my about page, and if anyone's sticker that I haven't got on in here wants to send me one, I say send us an email and I'll tell you where you can send them to. Right then, so what you've got is you've got 3 nuts. You've got one round here, one round there and one round here. So we're just going to take them off now. And that should just release that up then. Just get a bit of rag to wipe that dipstick. So there's plenty of oil in that, but we are going to give it a change anyway. So we'll just leave that to hang there for a minute, and then you've got a 10mm bolt there, and then around this side, just behind the filler cap, there'll be a 13mm bolt, and that will release this whole unit then. Before I try and lift this off, I'm just going to take this airbox off because it'll make it a bit easier once we try and disconnect the spring underneath here. So that just unwinds there, and this is what the pin I was on about. It just makes it easier so you can get the turn, and that's it, straight off like that. So could do with a clean. There's a lot of gunk around that. You can see there's loads of crap in there, so you want to get all that out really, because all stuff around the fins of the engine, it can cause the engine to overheat. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean down. I'll just give it a spray with a bit of WD just to loosen this grime up. And with me being here, I don't actually have a compressor here. Well, I'm at my dad's house, so I'll have the compressor to blow through stuff. So this way I'm doing it without the compressor. So it's just a matter of getting the majority of the gunk off, so we don't introduce any to the carburetor when we get in there. I'm just going to get a bit of carb spray now, because the carb spray has a bit of a blast on it. So there we go. Just get a bit of cloth, majority of that off before we open the carburetor up. Right then, so I'm happy with that. As you can see, it's a lot better than it was. So I'm just going to get my Phillips, and we'll just do these. Find these up. And there is a tiny bit of, I wouldn't say it's petrol in there. It looks a bit of a mix between maybe petrol and water or something. Yeah, it's definitely not just petrol in there. There's water and there's bits of debris in there, so we'll get rid of that. And what I'll do is I'll just fill the tank up with a bit of tissue as well, just to soak anything else up in there. There we go. Right, so we've got the old diaphragm and gasket here. It is a bit solid, so it's been on there a while. And you can see it's gone baggy up there now. So that's no good. The pickup feet don't look too dirty. I've had them before where they've had bits of gunk on there. But I'm just going to quickly give this a clean down with some carbs free, and then I'll come back when we're ready to fit the new diaphragm and gasket. Right then, so I've got my new diaphragm and gasket. Just sit them on there like that. And if you do this, don't skimp out on the cheap ones you can find, because they're no good. I've had them in the past. I'm speaking from experience here. Don't waste your time on them. Then you just get that. Just get everything down there and just drop your screws in, and that should pull it all together. Lovely. And when you come to do these screws up, don't go too mad, because remember it's only a plastic carburetor, and the way I tend to do it is I just wind them down diagonally. And then once they're all down, just give them that little nip. And that is one carburetor fully serviced. So I know that's clean, the tank's clean, new carb, gasket and diaphragm. We'll check the air filter, see what that's like. If we need to put a new one in, we'll put a new one in. Right then, so come to put this carb back on. One thing I forgot to mention is just make sure that these are fitted, because they sometimes, like they as on this one, get stuck on the tube, and they need to be seated home in there, because if they're not in there, you're not going to get your mower performing as it should, and it might not even start in some cases. So just push them back in there. It will click in, and then you get your little clip there, and that seats in that middle hole there. So just go in at an angle like that, and you can push that back home like that, and you've got your bracket there which just sits in there. So I'll just get my 2 screws, just line the front one up, get that started, and then we can push the 13mm through. Just get the impact, snip that up, get the 10. So that is the carburetor serviced. Remember, while you got all this out, just give it a clean behind there, don't put it back dirty. So we'll just take a look at this filter now. Give this case a bit of a wipe down first. So look at the state of that. So it has probably been on its side, this mower, at some point, because that filter is covered in oil. In fact, it's saturated in it. I don't know if you can see all the oil sitting in there. That can be cleaned out, but I'm just going to stick a new one in it for now. I'll just give that a quick wipe out, and I'm just going to get my replacement sponge, and that will just fit in there like that. You can see the difference. Look at that. So we can close that up now. We can get the screw, and we can take this back over to the machine. So we'll just drop that on there. And remember, this box goes on a certain way, so the point actually points to the back of the mower. I've seen a lot of people put this point at the front and it don't go like that. Remember again, this ain't got to be over tight, just to make sure it gets a good seal, because you're only screwing into plastic at the end of the day, and that's solid. Right then, so I've got my new pull cord out, and I've actually melted the ends on that just so they're nice and firm to push through. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to pull this cord right out, and there it is. I say it's only a short cord, this one. So I'll just pull that out of there, just snip that. So I can pull that out of there now. I'm just going to give that an extra turn. You don't want to go too mad on this because you can break the spring. So I'll just give that a couple of turns and just tie a knot in the end of this. And just pull that through. And just let that wind back in. Right, now we've got that done, I'm just going to extract the old oil out. Right, so that's all the oil out. So I'm just going to put a bit of fresh back in. One. Normally takes just over 2 of these, and I'll leave that there. And then we'll check that once we've got the dipstick back in. Right, that's what we're going to do now. Is I'm just going to put this top cover back on. Leave that there, and I can adjust that cord when I need to. So just start these off by getting them lined up. And that's that done. We'll just take the spark plug out quickly to see what's going on there. Oh, that corroded on the end of that. Needs a bit of a clean out in there. It's got an NGK plug in it. It's not even tight. And it's wet and it's a bit oily. So I'll give that a couple of pulls over now while I've got the plug out, just to clear anything out of the cylinder, if there is anything in there. Right, so nothing come out of that, which is a good sign. So I'll put the new B2LM in here. Where'd I put that socket? And you ain't got to go mad either with this. You're just trying to feel that washer on there. And I could do with a bit of sandpaper, because I'm just going to give that a clean out and I'll come back to you. Right, so that's all back together now. What we're going to do is we'll put a bit of petrol in it. Don't go too mad. Put that up there. Trying to put the bloody lawnmower cap on the petrol can. So I'm just going to give this a few primes to see I can hear that's priming straight away. So that's a good start. And I say just always give it a wipe over. Just makes it look that a little bit better, a bit more care and attention on it. Right, so we'll get it on the floor and see if it goes. Right then, it's all back together. I've checked the oil and it's spot on, so there's only one thing to do, and that's see if it will start. I can't remember why I bought this. I picked it up as a non-runner. It might have been that it just weren't starting. It might have been that loose plug. It could have been the air filter. It could have been even the pull cord. There weren't getting enough pull. It might even have a bank crank yet. I don't know. I haven't checked the crank or that. But if it has, we'll sort that out in another video. But first of all, let's just see if we can get it to go. So we'll give that 3 primes. Right then, so as you see, it went third pull, but that's probably because it's been sitting. I've probably had it in my garden just over a year, and it's just been sat there doing nothing. So after the third pull, I'm happy with that. What I'll do tomorrow, it's getting a bit late now, so tomorrow I will get it running, and I'll leave it running for about 15 to 20 minutes, just to make sure there's no problems with it. So I hope you've enjoyed this little mower video. I say a lot of people have been asking for one, so I thought, why not get one done for you? It probably takes about an hour, and that's with doing all the video and that. If I weren't videoing, you could strip one of these and get it all serviced and all that within about 35-40 minutes. So, but I'm going to leave it here. So I'll say, if you do want one of my stickers, my email's on my about page. Just drop me an email and I'll happily send one out to you. And also, if anyone wants to have a look, I've still got the Amazon wish list in the description down below. Whatever comes off of that goes back into the channel, so we really appreciate that. And I'm going to leave it here for this one, and until next time, we'll see you about.